Okay, mental camera record doesn't count. Three-way traffic lights. So they've been cutting the grass. All the grass has been cut since I was here last Saturday. And I'll have to bear with me with this wind. It's on the edge of Storm Betty. It's sweeping up the west of Wales, but we're catching it here. We're in the north, more the northeast, but it's very windy. So yeah, they cut the grass, and three-way traffic lights. It's all go. Got traffic lights down there as well. So yeah, I hope you can hear me in this wind. Anyway, I'm back. Morning. I'm back on the mental. I think I'll do a perimeter walk in this video. I normally go that way, clockwise, but I'm going to do it anti-clockwise. It's the easier way because the chapel end, instead of going up the hill, you go down the hill. It's quite a steep hill, but yeah, that's what I think I'll do, and have the usual chat along the way. But quick observation, nothing's happening. I do updates to let people know that bugger all is going on, except that the place is falling to bits. That's the only thing that's happening. They absolutely just fall into pieces. So I might come across my two mates. Is it still here, the sign? Don't come here with a drone. Don't come anywhere near the mental with a drone. You'll be shot on sight. So yeah, look at that. No drones allowed. And look at that. Oh, defacing. Someone's put a sticker there. Defacing North Wales Hospital property. That's 10-year imprisonment, that. But if you come here with a drone, you get shot. Snipers. Wow, this wind is crazy. But yeah, they've cut all the grass. I don't know why they've done that. All the grass in front of the nurses' home there's been cut. All this lot here. So yeah. So anyway, obviously, basically, I will head back that way. I'll head back that way and go this way and down the chapel end. It's a perimeter walk, and I'll end up coming across the cinder track, which is haunted. I got to mention that. I almost forgot to mention it was haunted. Oh, and had someone moaning on Facebook. I'm nosy now. That's the latest on Facebook. Do they do anything else but moan on blooming Facebook? They should be called Moan Book. Oh, you're nosy. Although to be fair, I've been called a lot worse than that. So yeah, don't come here with a drone. You'll be shot. Right, I will be heading back, and I'll be doing the usual natter. And like I say, there's a car coming out, but it doesn't count because there's all traffic lights and all sorts. Three-way traffic light system. Oh, they cut the back there, that bit there as well, behind the nurse's home. They've cut the grass there, so I don't know what's going on here. Why they've cut the grass, don't know. But nothing going on. Just like I say, the only thing that is going on is the place is just falling to pieces. So anyway, obviously, basically, I'll start my perimeter walk going anti-clockwise this time, and I'll have the usual natter along the way. So let's get going. So there's Talavan, which was one of the wards, separate ward. That's Talavan, and Gwynfryn is hidden away in the trees there. So it's Talavan ward and Gwynfryn. They were part of the hospital, but obviously separate. So yeah, it's all go here. Roadworks. Digging a big hole. So that's the side. The side of the entrance. Well, there's only two entrances, but the main entrance they used was down, which I'll show you later in the video. We called it the main gate. That was the one that was used the most. But when we were kids, we used to come over town And when we cut through to the pavilion, we'd always cut through this way and go past the nurse's home and the big chimney, which you can't see now. The chimney would have been somewhere there, like that, 100-foot chimney. And there was a gang of patients used to chip the coal, so it would be the correct size to fit the boilers. And I've talked about the cinder track, which is haunted, by the way. That's what they used to do with the old cinders. They used to chuck it on that track, and that's why it's called the cinder track. And that's one of the sites of the fires that have been there. And if you want to see what it's like inside there, or anywhere really, I've done walkabouts. You can see what it's like inside. And just before that fire, I think it was a few months before that fire, and this house here, it boarded up because the kids had been coming here smashing the windows. And that's the chief engineer's house, was there. And this part here, past the nurse's home, that was like the engineering section. Oh, and here, this area here, that's where the orchard was. We used to jump over the wall, we used to pinch apples, might get a chase every so often from one of the gardeners, but we never used to get caught. So we used to fill our jumpers up with apples, and we used to just pop up here. That's the other entrance, by the way, goes past the front of the nurse's home. As you look from the top road, you look at the nurse's home, that is actually the back of the nurse's home. The front of the nurse's home is the other side. But we used to come up here and just climb up there, and there was the exposed section of the heating pipe. And that's where we used to cut the apples in half, put it on the pipe, which was boiling hot, and it used to cook the apples. You'll still see a bit of the section of the pipe. Just depends how overgrown it is. Anyway, this is the front of the nurse's home, which is over there. Hopefully you can see that's well overgrown. And if you want to see what it's like in the nurse's home, check out my videos. Done walkabouts and a bit of running repair there. Bit of a section of this pipe. Don't know if you'll be able to see it. Shall we see? Yeah, there it is there. Hopefully you see it running across there, and it runs down there and then drops down, and right on that corner there, see it running across there. It's insulated there, but there was a piece there where the insulation wasn't on it. It comes across there and then drops down right on the corner. The insulation, we never damaged it, we never used to do any damage at all whatsoever, but it's just so that the metal was exposed. And like I say, we used to cut the apples, put them on it, it used to sizzle within seconds. Then we used to cook the apples and eat them. Right, I'll be turning off now. I've just around that corner there, just before Sparrows Drive. There's like a way in there, look at it, well worn. A little gap there, it's opened up. So yeah, I'll be turning off in a minute and carry on my natter. Right, a bit sheltered from the wind here. Just looking back now, a car, the red light was on, the traffic light. He just went straight through it. There's another worn way in there. See, they cut the grass. I don't know why they've done that. Well, there's the one of the last fires there. Hopefully it's going to focus, is it? Yeah, see, all the roof's gone. And as I say, if you want to see what it's like inside and in the grounds, check out my videos. And I'm going to say it, 25 plus years I say now, I've been documenting the mental. Done walkabouts in the grounds, in the buildings, day and night. Absolutely mad if you go into the grounds at night. But I know I know the layout, I know where the grounds and stuff like that. I've been doing this, like I say, 25 plus years. It got a new sign there, 50s era museum, Sparrows 50s museum down there. So I turn off, I go here. There's another little route in there. I think they've tried to. This is one of my ways I used to get in, but they blocked it off now. But yeah, over the years I've been documenting mental 25 plus years. So they've been doing running repairs. So this is the hill, the slope. Like I say, if I did it clockwise, I'd be coming up here, and it's quite a slog actually. And I'll show you the dam a bit later. One of the water sources, there's a few water sources to the Mental. Galch Hill, so the very first one, they diverted a stream from Galch Hill, and then down the Ystrad and that, they had built the dam. They had a team of patients used to pump water from up there up to a water tower. As you look at the front buildings, above the front door, they had a water tower, and that's the original location of the chapel. But they built a purpose-made built chapel because it was too small. But that's where the original water tower was, and then they had a little reservoir. But I don't know where the reservoir was in the grounds. But it was fenced off. And then they bought the Llyn, and to this day it's called the Mental Lake, and it's way up on the Denbigh moors. And it was 2,000 and something they paid for it. And they got a pipe all the way, because it's quite a way up on the moors. It's called the Llyn, but as locals we just call it the Mental Lake. And they had a pipe all the way from there to the Mental, and that's how they had their water supply. So yeah, dropping down, and I'll show you the or where the dam was. Bit of a sad story about that, which I'll speak to you in a minute. You watching me? Watching me, watching you. Carved out a bird of prey there on the stump. Not a lot of people would notice that. Right, just heading down here now. And then I'll show you the dam, which was one of the water supplies for the Mental before they bought the Llyn, aka the Mental Lake. Although it's a reservoir, it's called the Mental Lake. Okay, just made a bit of a detour, sheltered from the wind here too. There's a big crowd of people, don't know what they're doing. The other side of the river there. So anyway, obviously basically, this was the dam that they built. And as I say, bit of a sad story, because the Mental used to have escapees, and this is where they used to come, and they to commit suicide. You can see part of it there. It's part of the dam, and it went across there, and there's a bit of it there. But when this wasn't in use, I thought I could see red. I don't know what's happening over there. The camp over there, there's like a bit of a field, bit of an opening. They're probably camping there. Yeah, so you can see a bit of the pipe work and stuff. And the channel here. That's there. But yeah, when this wasn't in use, when they sorted out with the Llyn, the Mental Lake, some of the escapee patients is where they used to come. They used to jump off the dam, drown themselves, which is very sad. As well as used to go up the castle, which I've talked about before, and they threatened to jump, suicide jumpers. And we used to go up there when we used to get to know about it. We used to sit on the wall and watch them getting talked down. No one, patient didn't actually jump. We never, there's no, but they used to get talked down. Sometimes they'd be there for 10 minutes, sometimes they'd be there for a few hours, standing on the edge of the castle, top of Love Lane, and they get police and negotiators and stuff. But this is where they used to come. And there were suicides here, but as you can see, it's gone because they dynamited it. They blew it up, literally blew it up. So right, I'll heading towards the cinder track, which is haunted. Almost forgot to mention that. A bit sheltered from the wind here too. So I'll see you in a minute. Ooh. Well overgrown since I was here last. I haven't done a perimeter walk for some time now, but the tree is still here. A fallen tree that blew down in one of the gales and stuff we had going back a few years now, and not done anything about it. Just left it there. But yeah, sheltered is Storm Betty. It's going up the west of Wales and 70, 80 mile an hour winds, but it's breezy, gusty here, but we're not getting it as bad as on the coast. So yeah, it's well overgrown. So I'll be joining the cinder track in a minute. And watching you watching me. The owl. A bit still here. There it is. In the sunlight. Watching you watching me. Right, I'll be joining the cinder track in a minute. Squirrel there. There's the old building, the old one, part of the old mill. If you can see it, well, if I just zoom in through there, you can, as I say, if you're interested, I've covered all these stuff there. You can see part of the brick or stonework, not brickwork, but that was part of the water supply to the mental. So yeah, joining the cinder track now, which is haunted, just in case I never mentioned it. And there, all here, just opposite King's Mill, that's one of the dumps where they used to dump everything from them, anything they couldn't burn from the mental, they used to dump there. And we used to come down when we were kids. It was always down here in the pavilion and stuff, and we'd have a good route through, see what we could find. We used to get fiberglass, used to be in the mattresses and pillows and stuff. We used to carefully get that out, put it in a little bag and whatever, and we used to use it as itching powder. We used to go to school, you go behind someone, you pull their back collar and drop some of them down their back, and it'd be there like a itch in a way. Things we used to do. So this is the rugby field, built by patient labour, and the cricket ground, I'll show you in a minute, and the pavilion, which had acted as a cricket and the rugby pavilion. But there through here, it's all overgrown now. But it was all built by patient labour. The hospital wouldn't have survived as long as it did without patient labour. A lot of the patients, they had jobs, and you know, they, like I say, they wouldn't have survived. But yeah, some of the escapees, I've talked about it before. There was categories of patients. There was this Bringolai, the secure ward, where they were locked in because they were not only a danger to themselves, to other patients and staff. So that was a secure ward. And then you got the isolation hospital. If they had contagious diseases, they were locked up in there. That was a hospital within a hospital. And then they had patients which were locked in wards, and then they had patients which were allowed into the airing courts. As you look at the front of the hospital, either side there was two large walled areas, and they were called the airing courts, and they used to just wander around there all day. You had patients that were allowed to wander around the grounds, and then you had patients which were allowed to do what they want. They could come into town and do what they want. And I used to know a lot of the patients, especially George on the Sunday. And there, what's left of the old pavilion. It was brick at the bottom there, and at the top there it was all timber. But it burnt down. That's going back years now. If you want to see what that looks like, check out my videos. I've got film of that inside of it when it was, you know, with the complete before the fire. Yeah, George on Sunday morning with his hymns. He was a good singer actually. He's only small. I can see him now to this day. He was about 5 foot tall. Always had a grey, like a tweed trench coat on. He had white hair, cropped. He had like a flat on his head. It was cut flat, and he had big shiny boots on. Don't know whether he was military, but his boots, you can see your face in his boots. And he'd be singing Sunday morning. Why he was going to town on Sunday, I had no idea. He just wandered around town singing, anything. So yeah, that's a category of the patients. As I say, we used to know quite a lot of the patients. Anyway, I'll speak to you in a minute when I get up to there. Well, that's where we used to play, by the way. This is the cricket ground. It was there, and like I say, the other side was the pavilion, all built by patient labour. And that's where we used to play when we were kids. Right, and to get to the pavilion, like I said earlier, we used to cut through, used to go past the nurse's home and the chimney on the corner. And this is where we'd come down. All this was near, and there was gates up there, but that wasn't there. All this was open. We used to come round the canteen down here, straight down there. We used to always come through the grounds. So yeah, anyway, carry on the haunted cinder track. So yeah, a lot of dog walkers about today. They're not ghosts, but this is supposed to be haunted by a ghost of an old man. I've been here at night and I've captured orbs, and I've captured a black, something of like a apparition, some sort of black twice. I think I've captured that. But I've not actually seen a ghost of, it's supposed to be an old man, whether it's an old patient, whether, you know, it's connected with the mental, but that's the story. As I say, this is the cinder track. This is where they used to dump the old cinders. And just behind, earlier on, when I said, you know, that dumping ground, up on the top behind King's Mill, that's where the incinerator was. It's a big flat area. It's not there now, obviously. But anything they couldn't burn, they used to dump, and used to chuck it down there. And I've got a lot of artifacts. I've done a video of them. All the pottery and medicine bottles and stuff. If you're interested, check out my videos. I do a good route round, and I found a lot of with the stamp, North Wales Hospital on, and all that stuff. But yeah, anything that they could burn would go in the incinerator, and anything they couldn't burn, like the old bed springs and stuff, and there was mattresses, and why they didn't burn them, I don't know, because that's where we used to get the little fiberglass fibres from. We used to use it as itching powder. Yeah, and they used to just dump it, and like I said, the cinder, the old burnt out cinders from the heating, from out the boilers, this is what they used to do with it. They used to chuck it on this track, and you'd come along here, it'd be 4 or 5 inches deep of little black cinders, and it used to crunch. So that's why it's called the cinder track, and it's haunted, just in case I never mentioned it. Anyway, keep going. Cars! So yeah, this is the entrance that Jones Brothers are using now. Originally, as I said, there was only 2 entrances, the main gate and the entrance past the nurse's home, but that's the entrance that this fella's always here reading the paper. This is the entrance that they're using now, but as I say, this is Jones Brothers have built this. And just coming up on my right, it's Pennant Farm. This was the mental farm. That's where they used to have the supply the meat and dairy and eggs from the chickens, and used to have a slaughter man there, and because it was a self-contained place. God, busy. So yeah, this wasn't like it was. It's all been done up now. And Pennant Farm, it wasn't originally called Pennant, but off the top of my head I can't remember what it was originally called, but this was the farm, as I say, in the grounds, the mental, that's where they used to get all the veg, used to grow the veg. It was a self-contained place. Used to have builders, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, hairdressers, and like I say, the patient labour. The women used to work in the laundries and stuff like that, and in the kitchens, and the men used to work with hairdressers and carpenters and do, you know, most of the labour. But yeah, this was the farm as you're looking now on the right, Pennant Farm. And it went on fire. There was a massive fire here, and that's when they shut it down. As I say, if you're interested, you know, I will in other videos. I've gone into detail of a lot of the stuff that I talked about in this video, but you'll get dates and all stuff like that, more, you know, in detail, in depth. But that's where the farm was before the fire. But like I say, this is not what it was like. It's all been knocked down and done up. I don't know whether this might be the original, but you see there's got the sign there. It says Pennant Farm and buildings, and it's all worn away. But as I say, it wasn't originally called Pennant Farm. I can't remember what it was called. So yeah, anyway, obviously basically down there is the main gate. That was the main entrance that was used in and out of the mental in the days when it was open. Originally there wasn't a gate there, and then they put a gate there because it was 10 o'clock at night until I think it was 6 in the morning, the patients were literally locked in the hospital. There was no doctors, no nurses, no staff, no one. They just locked them in there. And that went on, as I say, at the top of my head, I can't think of dates now. But that's what used to happen. You see the Castell Denbigh Castle. But yeah, and then I'll say, they put a gate there. And then they were literally locked in. And then they used to open up, and quite often there'd be, casualties, they'd injured themselves, or there'd be deaths. They'd find patients had died in the night and what have you. And yes, I've talked about it. The day I saw the patient die in front of my eyes, I was about, 7 or 8, something like that, in a taxi from Loveland Garage. Used to run taxis, and pulled up outside the front door, which I'll show you in a minute. And you went in for the fare, and I was left in the car. And he came out, there's no one about. And I can see him now, he had a bald head, pyjamas, dressing gown, slippers, and he came out on the tops of the steps, and he looked down at me, and he looked around like that, and then he went to walk down the steps, and he fell, but he never put his hands out, he just fell, bang, like that, and he was just still, and I was like that. And next minute someone came out the door, and immediately he was surrounded by people, and I was the only one that witnessed it. And we found out later, the hospital told us, they phoned us up, and they said that he died as soon as he hit, wow, there's a massive wagon coming now. As soon as he hit the steps, he died instantly. So, and I was the only one that witnessed it. And I remember it to this day. I can see him now. If I shut my eyes, I can see him now, looking at me. So yeah, that's another, I'm going to get splashed by that. Wow, look at all these cars and vans. I tell you, mental camera record equals all sorts. But yeah, I was the only one that witnessed that. So anyway, obviously, basically, just by here, that's the main gate. I'll speak to you in a minute. So this is what we call the main entrance, or the main gate, which is all blocked off with the Lego bricks. Wow, here comes the car. So yeah, and I'll show you the front door where I saw him fall to his death. He's there, and I was there in the car, and there's steps there. Obviously you can't see it from here, but he came out the door there and he fell to his death. And as I said earlier, the chapel was there, and just behind in the tower there was a water tank before they moved, or they built a little reservoir. And the clock there got stolen. There, that's where it was donated by, top of the head, Ablet, was it? Something Ablet. They donated the clock just after they built the hospital, and then it got closed. Oh yeah, you're right. And then there was security here for about a year, and then for some reason they cleared off, and everyone moved in. They were looting the place. Anything that was made out of metal, they were pinching, and they nicked the clock. You think what that would be worth today? They probably melted it down for scrap. That's where it was there. How the hell they got up there and nicked the clock? You tell me. But anyway, obviously, basically, that's what happened. So, right, heading up to the... oh yeah, and I get asked about this place here. It's a private residence. Nothing to do with the mental. It is occupied, but it's nothing. It's a private residence. So, right, head up to the top road, which gives the best view of the mental. Wow, it's nice now, if not breezy. So yeah, this is the top road, as I call it, and it gives you the best view of the mental. On a lovely sunny day like this too. So more or less where I started. So yeah, and also I remind you, as I said at the beginning, don't come anywhere near here with a drone. No drones allowed. Danger, keep out, but don't come here with a drone. Otherwise you get shot. And if you deface the mental signs, it's 10 years imprisonment. Minimum. So, anyway, obviously, basically, oh yeah, I'll show you the Treverion in a minute. Hope you can hear me. It's very, very windy and it's just starting to rain. But yeah, this is almost where I started the circular walk, circumference, circular, around the grounds, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, like I said, if you're interested, if you're new to the channel, you're interested in the mental, take a look at my videos. 25 years I've been doing this, documenting this place now, and I ain't going to stop anytime soon. So I'll just show you, I'll end the video, I'll just show you the Treverion. But yeah, it's the best view of the mental from here. Yeah, there's the chief engineer's house. And like I say, the engineering part was this part here. And just hanging about here for a few minutes. I've not seen any security, but they are before you ask, and people do ask. Yes, there is security here, but I've not seen them at all today. There's two of them. It's Camo Man and High Vis Man. Camo Man's not too bad, but High Vis Man, ooh, he'll shoot you if you come here with a drone. He's the one that'll shoot you. High Vis Man. But yeah, they are having a look at. What's he doing with a camera? Yapping away to a camera. Yeah, there is security here 24/7, but like I say, last time I saw them was a few weeks back, and they were on, well no, the very last time they were just walking around. They have been on electric bikes, riding around on electric bikes, but no sign of them today. But guarantee if you go on the ground, one of their sensors will pick you up and they'll be on your back before you can blink. They'll be there. So yeah, as I say, best view of the mental from here. Oh yeah, and another thing I just thought I'd mention before I go. Yes, there are other videos on YouTube about the mental, but my videos are a bit of a difference, because I'll walk around and I'll talk about my experiences like I've been doing today. I'll talk about, you know, some anecdote stories about the patients. I'll talk about the wards, I'll talk about the history and stuff like that. But other people, they just wander around, they don't know what they're doing, they just film it and wander around and stuff. So I think my videos are a bit more interesting if you are interested in the mental, because I know a lot of people, they couldn't care less what happens to the place, but it's just something I've got into. As I say, 25 plus years documenting the old girl. Camo Man has just made an appearance. Just hang on a second. He's just walking up. He just walked past the front building, so he should appear there somewhere. It's blooming sun on this screen. I can't see a thing on this, so hopefully I'll get him in shot. If he wants to come and have a word, he's more than welcome. He's behind here somewhere now, behind the old works there. But he should come by that gate there soon. I'm sure it was Camo Man, because he was all in dark. The other one's got high vis vest on. So we'll see if he makes an appearance. And I haven't got a drone. I've not got a drone. He'll be shot on sight. No, there's no sign of him now. He's hiding. They hide from me. That's the trouble. When I first started, you know, when they first arrived on the scene, I wanted to have a bit of a chat with them, because I am not an auditor. I am not an auditor, but I just wanted to, you know, what have you. And they run off. He's probably watching me now. He's probably hiding somewhere and watching me, because he was walking along the front there, and he's behind there, but he should appear by there, but he hasn't. So he's watching me now. He's thinking, oh no, he's back. That Denbigh Vids fella, he can't keep away. Well, as long as it's not High Vis Man anyway. He's watching me. I bet he's there, he's hiding somewhere now watching me, but I've not got a drone. No way. No drone. Anyway, if he makes an appearance, I'll try and get him on camera for you. But he's there, he's hiding behind there, he is. Anyway, I'm going, I'll leave him to it. He's watching me, he's bound to be watching me. Anyway, I'll show you the Treverion in a minute. It's starting to rain now too. Nah, he never made an appearance. He's hiding, he is. He'd be hiding from me. Anyway, just the, see, just above the, in the trees there. Hopefully you can see a bit of a chimney and a bit of a roof. That's the Treverion. To bear with me, this wind up here is really bad. That's the Treverion, or the Mental Club it was called. Originally it was a residence for a head doctor of the mental. Off the top of my head, like I say, I can't think of his name now. But that's what it originally was. Then it was a convalescence home for the patients to convalesce after illnesses and stuff like that. And then it became the Mental Club. So I had 1 or 2 pints in that place. So that's the Treverion. Anyway, I'm going. There's no sign of Camo Man. He's hiding. He's playing hide and seek. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this perimeter walk and the natter. 25 plus years of documenting the mental, and I ain't going to stop anytime soon, and it's starting to rain, so I'm going. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again.